right. We need a starter, boys. I'm sick. Oh, I've been sick all week. I'm still sick. That sounds great, don't I? Guys, I got the pickup truck ready, and we're going to pick up some parts for the Nissan. I lied to you guys. It's not that I lied to you guys. It changed my mind, okay? My plan was to work on the C10 next, not worry about this SUV. First off, I got to put a starter in this. I got that. And then I got all the parts except for the ones I'm going to get today for the Nissan. And I think I can have that fixed in like 3 weeks. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and jump on that. I also feel ripped off. I didn't realize what price these were going for, these Muranos. I watched one I had on my watch list yesterday. Now I paid $24.50 was my winning bid on that. With all the parts and stuff, I'm at about $6,000 right now. This is a 2017 with 130,000 miles. There's one in Pittsburgh I had on my list. It was a 2020 with 36,000 miles on it. Far less damage. Didn't even look like it needed a radiator or condenser or nothing. It had all the parts off that were damaged. Driver's fender, headlight, bumper, grill, and that looked like it. No airbags were blown. The hood was fine. This fender was fine. I think both headlights were gone. And it went for $5,400. I'm over. I mean, after fees, you're gonna pay more than that. But still, I could have had one with 100,000 less miles on it, 3 years newer, with probably maybe $2,000 tops more than what I'm going to have in this one. Oh well, we're going to continue on, but still, I need to spend more money, get better cars instead of buying the bottom. I don't know. I guess it don't make good content, does it? Huh? You want me to buy the junkers? That's what we're doing. No lie, I do kind of like this Honda. The more I've driven it to work all week long, and getting excellent gas mileage, and it's honestly not that bad. A raccoon ran out in front of me the one morning, and it was huge. I don't know if it was huge or it just looked big because I'm driving this thing, but it ran out in front of me, and I slammed on the brakes and cut the wheel. The back end kicked a little bit, and I juked right around it, and I was like, wow, this thing's like actually really nimble. It's real lightweight and it's easy to maneuver, and it's fun to drive. And the CVT's not. I mean, it's still a CVT. It's not as bad as I thought it would be driving it every day. It works pretty good. It goes over the mountains good. I drive over 2 mountains on the way to work, and it goes over effortlessly. Really, I mean, I'm tacking maybe $3,000 going over the mountains, which is not that horrible for a little engine like this. But if this thing was all-wheel drive and had just a little bit more room, it would be awesome, which technically is what another Honda is in their lineup. The HR-V is like the same as this, but a little bit bigger, and it's all-wheel drive. So I think that would be a nice little project if I could get my hands on one of them. I did have some of those on my list, but I didn't bid on any of them. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see one of those in the future. Who knows? Honda pickup truck success. These guys were like, what are you in again? I'm like, a Honda Fit. It'll fit. That's why they call it the Fit. I mean, it's on top of my seat, but it's in there. These hoods weigh nothing, these aluminum hoods. See, here's the reason I went with this, okay? I could have got a hood for less, but it was going to be steel. These are aluminum hoods. It was going to be steel, and it was going to be unpainted. And it was going to be unpainted. So it was like $450 for a steel hood that was unpainted. This I got for $500, and it's already the color that I need it to be. So I saved myself a lot of paint, and I also got a factory hood that's lighter than the crap steel ones they give you. And this speed bump's gonna take my lip off. I'm gonna hit it at an angle. Ha. Ah, just scraped it. Nice area down here. It's Halifax, which is on the way to Harrisburg. Never been here before. Really nice guys, and it's not near as far as I thought it was going to be. It was about an hour drive, little bit over an hour drive, and I'm normally driving an hour to get parts anyways. It's hard for me to say hour when my nose is all stuffed up right now. Hour. Why does it sound like I'm meowing? Ruh-roh. I'm starting to get sus. I know my starter's being intermittent, where it'll start eventually. It took a hard hit on the front of the engine, okay? The starter's right there. And I was wondering if it didn't hit the starter, like a tight spot in it or something like that. There's also a main wiring harness right there on the front of the engine. And all at once, I mean, except for the tire pressure light, because I told you there wasn't any tire pressure sensors in this. Obviously, this one gets them. And it didn't have them when I got it, and then I didn't put any in it, so I'm not worried about that. But the other three lights for the power steering, the traction control, and the check engine light, they all just came on at the same time. I had another light that flashed, and it went out. I can't remember what it was. Might have been the ABS. But I need to check that main harness in the front. I didn't see anything damaged there, but there's a possibility that there is a wire about to go, or it already went. It was thin from being hit. So I have to get in there to do the starter, because the wiring harness is right over top of the starter, so I have to unbolt the harness to do it. So it's not really a big deal. I'll get to it, but I also need to check the codes and make sure it's not just like a speed sensor or something, because a speed sensor will give you your steering, traction control. I don't know about the check engine light, but it's a possibility. But the ABS, it's a possibility it would do that too. But you would think if I was having a speed sensor problem that my ABS light would be on right now. So I don't know what's going on there. I'll look into it sometime. I gotta work on this thing this weekend, so we'll get into it. I got a good deal. The Murano's gonna look good. I bought that dash repair kit. I was gonna repair that dash. I ordered this set, Yurdy's in Hollidaysburg, or that it's around that area somewhere there. I ordered the airbag set, which was the passenger airbag, the steering wheel airbag, supposed to be the seat belts, and the crash module. They just called me and they said there. Then I also ordered the knee bag, but I ordered it separate and it's not there yet. It's supposed to be there today. He said, yeah, the dash is here, the passenger. I was like, oh, the dash. I didn't know the dash came with it. And he goes, you can chuck it if you want to. I said, no, I'll take it. So for $475, I got an even way better deal than I thought I was going to get. Because I thought I was going to have to monster garage that dash bag, that dash panel, which you can still do that, but I got a dash panel that's intact. So it will look a whole lot better if I just replace the dash. So that's what we're going to do. That's awesome. And then having a parts one, you know, the one I'm getting to replace, I can look and see where all the mounts are and everything. I hope it's not that bad of a job, but we're going to do it. I have not seen any videos online of anybody replacing the dashes on these Muranos, but since I have the parts, I'm going to do it. Sorry, check that harness. I didn't find anything wrong with it. Also, check the codes. I had a bunch of codes for lost communication. One was the ECU. One was a lean code for fuel lean. What was another one? ABS brakes, lost communication. There's a couple things, lost communication, but I'm not seeing any damage on that harness that would be alarming. Also, even though I ran and got this hood and it was black and I thought I was in the clear, it needs painted. So I didn't save myself too much. One thing I did save myself is I'm not going to have to do a lot of body work. It's just going to be a clean up and paint
But yeah, I was gonna sit here and polish it, but then I just found a big scratch through the paint down to the primer. So here's the one area. I was gonna try to polish this, but that looks like that's down to paint. That's through clear. Another one right here. This is through the paint. So I might do like a little skim of top coat body filler just to fill that paint gap in. You can sand down through it, but is there more? I need to clean this thing up, so I'm going to go ahead and clean this up. I know WD-40 will take this stuff off, so I'm going to hit this with some WD-40 and try to get this adhesive off, and then just clean it up in general. I might polish it just to see how it turns out, but I know that I'm going to need to at least paint it, or at the least, if I can get it cleaned up pretty good and it looks decent, just clear coat it. So anyways, I don't have to worry about the bottom side of the hood. That's nice. And then everything's on it. So that does save me a lot of time. And honestly, it didn't cost me much to go drive and get this. And I got this for less than an aluminum hood, and I'm already the stock color. So we're already in the positive with this, I'm saying. Another thing I noticed, now I always put foam blocks on these corners and stuff when I'm moving stuff. Well, I just took the foam blocks off. I didn't look at this before I was in the truck. Or yeah, the Honda. Paint's off there, and the paint's off here. They had it sitting down. So this hood wasn't really well taken care of, but I mean, it still doesn't have any dents in it, so that's the plus side of this. You know what, guys? I think I'm going to get away with, well, no, I'm just going to paint it. I was going to say, I think I can get away with just putting a little bit of touch up on a couple areas and then re-clearing it, but it wouldn't look right. If I did touch up and then cleared over it, those spots would be darker where I did touch up, where if I would just spray the whole thing, it's going to look, good. So, and there's a possibility I'm not keeping this. It depends. I'm going to try to bid on something next week. Very similar. You guys understand. Anyways, I'm going to repaint this. Yeah. But at least it looks decent. I didn't get gypped, okay? We'll just put it that way. And I got such a good deal on the airbags that kind of makes up for it anyways.
You've arrived at your destination.
Pickup truck. Guy did say, I said, now, do I need to get the crash module reset? And he was like, you probably should. And I was like, I'm going to try this one. I'll pull mine out. I'll try this one. If this one has hard codes on it, I'll send mine in. No big deal. We'll try it. Here's something. Since I've messed with the wiring and I had it all out and was moving it around and all this kinds of stuff, I have not had one single time where this thing would not start. What's that tell you? We don't need a starter. I can send that back and get some money. Get my money back. That's awesome. That means we got a wiring issue, which is not awesome because that's where I fail all the time. Oh, alright, I'm gonna go put some fuel in this thing. Alright, I have several things to do, and I just got rid of the Cadillac body.
I got $208 for that, which I threw a bunch of stuff in it, like scrap I had out here. Didn't get rid of all of it, but most of it, plus some aluminum and stuff. $208. Not bad for a car that is just a shell. So that's pretty dang good. Then I got my truck to service. I threw some seafoam in that, so clean the engine. You know, with the lifter problems those things have, I like a little reassurance, so I make sure that the inside of the engine's clean. So I threw some seafoam in that and let it run for a while to help clean those lifters, the passageways and all that stuff. Threw some in the Murano also, let it run for a little bit. I don't have any coolant in it, so I couldn't let it run that long. I got tons of parts here. I'm going to clean up the garage real quick. So yeah, I got to move some stuff around, and then I got to put the brake pads on the Z, and then I got to get the fit in here and see if I can find that electrical issue. It has to be a ground or broken wire or a pinched wire up front. So I'm going to have to pull it in here and look it over real good and see if we can find an issue there. I wanted to show you guys something before I put this down. Now, I am not endorsed by this company, but hold on a second, I'm wiping the camera off. I got oil on it. I'm not endorsed by this company, but I use their products and it's good. Wool wax, and I use wool wax black because it makes the whole underside look good. Now, I undercoated this when I got the truck. Now, I just want to show you, like, the stuff's supposed to wash off over time, okay? So if you're seeing this, I did everything that was steel. I might have missed a spot, you know, like right there. But I did everything that I could whenever I had it apart. And, you know, when I was rebuilding it, and I did this whole frame. And I want to show you, in Pennsylvania, the back section of your frame is where, and the exhaust shows, okay? So here, you look at the exhaust, and you can see, this is what Pennsylvania vehicles look like, okay? And this is an aftermarket exhaust. This is how rusty they get. Well, look at this stuff, okay? So, I did everything. Leaf springs, all of that. Now, yeah, this is a 2016, but I've seen other 2016s that weren't treated that look way worse than this. And I got real good up in these wheel wells here, because that's where they're known to rust, right along that lip there. So I made sure that I got it real good, and then I got inside of the frame tubes, inside of the bed rails, all of that, and I sprayed everything that I could. Now I can see some stuff like up by that shock there. I don't know if I missed that or if it just washed off over time, but this thing looks awesome. Like the diff, I sprayed it. The frame, like this is a good testament of, you know, rust proofing your vehicle. Like, all you people that live in Pennsylvania, I just want you to see this, because this is what your vehicle could look like. I've had this thing for 2-3 years now, and I rust proofed it the best I could, sprayed everything, and you can see that hardly any of it came off. It's mostly all still on there. You're supposed to touch up areas like after a couple of years. Now this has been like 2 years since I did it, and I did inside the rockers, and you can see, you know, there's a little bit of rust starting in a couple areas, but these rockers actually look really good. Now right here, this one's getting a little bit more right here, but still, this is common. So yeah, I'm a believer. Looks good. Now this thing takes 8.5 quarts of oil. The Murano, surprisingly, takes about the least of most of them. Well, all except for the Honda Fit. The Honda Fit takes like 3.5 quarts. So that's the least of any vehicle I've ever had. It takes 3.9 quarts. So 4 quarts, basically. Which is crazy to me, because I think the Z takes 6. So from 3.5 to 3.7, I don't know why the oil capacity is so much different. I like there to be a lot more oil in there, because you're circulating more oil through the engine, and the dirt and stuff in there is diluted by more oil because there's more in there. So your oil lasts a little bit longer because it doesn't get as dirty, because it's, you know, there's more oil capacity in there. So just saying, all right, let's get this thing down, put some oil in it, and get it out of here. All right, so I'm going to start off on this by checking all the grounds. I also have a skid plate to put underneath this. It's the engine plate. I ordered that, and it finally came. But yeah, I want to check all the ground wires, and I want to check all the wires. I mean, I have looked over the wires on the front of the engine, but it took a hit there. And there's a plastic conduit that the wires sit in, and it was like apart, but it's still in one piece. So I put it back together because I didn't find any wire breaks. I might have to cut back some of the sheathing around the wires and stuff just to see. I need to find one that's potentially pinched, or, you know, it looked like it took a hit of some sort. That's the thing. I might have one that didn't. It just stretched the harness enough that it broke inside. That's the problem I'm going to have, because I can't find that stuff. I don't even know where to start there. But being that I'm having multiple issues, whenever I do get codes, it's like multiple codes. Plus, I'm having a problem with that starter. I want to check the grounds, because grounds cover a lot of things, okay? And when you have multiple things going wrong, it could, I mean, potentially it could be a problem inside the ECU. I mean, because one of the codes is lost connection to ECU. But then I have a lean code, ABS, power steering. They all come up at the same time, and it's throwing the same codes every time. So I don't know if I don't have a wiring schematic for this. I really don't want to pay for it, and I want to look online and see if there is one on there for grounding locations. That's one thing that AllData is really good for. You look up grounding, and it'll bring you up a whole schematic of ground wires, where they're located at on the vehicle, and stuff like that. So I might have to spend a couple bucks. It's like $20 for a month, and that's all I need, really. But let's dig into this. I really don't want to tear the front end off, so I'm going to try to work inside. There's a little bit of room in there, but I gotta unbolt that conduit so it can move, and then I can look at some more things in there. So I'll show you what I'm looking at. All right, so this is the conduit I was talking about. It took a hit and it was apart. There's a bolt that holds it on right there. Well, we're not focused very good. There you go. And did it again. Bolt right there. I don't know that there's any other bolts there might be, and I'm not seeing them, but the starter is also right behind there. And there are a group of grounds down in here, and I want to look at that. I already looked at them once, but I want to go over them again. There's also a ground right here, which looks pretty corroded, and I didn't mess with that. So I'm going to check resistance to ground on that. And there's another one right here, which I did have off and got cleaned up a little bit. And then there's this main one right here, which I cleaned when I had off. And I did check this, because this is like a main ground. And I wanted to make sure, because, you know, make sure we're good there. I don't know if there should be one on the engine block, because this one's on the EGR tube. This one's on the engine mount, or the head. Yeah, part of the head. There should be one on the block somewhere that I'm not seeing. And I wonder, it's probably at the starter. I don't know. I'm just looking around here. I didn't check anything in here because I don't think this got hit. I don't know. Let's look around. I do see there's another bolt holding this on. So let's get into that. I'm sad to say I haven't found a single thing yet. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and change the starter. Just for good measure, I have it here. It may have taken a hit during that accident. I don't think it did. There is one more. There's main chassis ground right here. And it goes up to the motor mount on top. As you can see up there. So that's all I'm finding. And it's not very confident inspiring. I thought I found what looked like moisture inside the ECU plugs, but I'm not sure if it was. Might have been some sort of a electrical grease or something they sprayed in there. It looked like it had like little moisture in there. So I tried blowing air in there for a while to dry them out. I'm gonna put this thing back down now. Try putting some air in there to blow them out, blow the ECU out. Just make sure to eliminate that there might be a possibility. I'm just kind of shooting in the dark. When it comes to electrical, I'm just, if it's not something simple, yeah, I'm lost. Here we are, got ripped apart. That's the main grounds inside here. Maybe I'll check continuity on those. I'm not getting anything different. That's the thing. All these are connected. I'm pretty sure these are all grounds anyways. Brown and black is normally ground wires. And then I started tracing it back. This took a slight hit right here on this corner, but I don't think that did anything to the wiring at all. It did smash the battery back in, which this harness is right, you know, this main harness runs over there. So, I mean, it could be an issue on that. This never came unbolted. This was still in place. That was hanging loose, but that also goes right to the ECU here. And it could have ripped wires right here. Might as well clean that one up. You know, that's a main engine ground. And hopefully that helps. I have no clue what I'm doing. Alright, so this is not the correct way to go about this. But what I did in case there's grounding issues from the chassis. The main ground wire is right here, and it comes up to the core support. And I put this core support in. Now, what if there's a possibility the core support is not grounding sufficiently to the chassis? Okay, and then the next main ground goes from the chassis to the transmission. So what I did do is I made a ground wire here, an extra one, and I ran it from, now, yeah, I wanted to make sure it was on there tight enough. I ran it down to that chassis ground back there. Okay, right back there. So it's not, you know, thick gauge wire like that, but if we are having a grounding issue, that should alleviate it. So let me see if I didn't, the only thing I didn't do is put the 2 bolts that hold that harness back in there. So I'm just going to get in and start it like 10 times. See if we have any starting issues. What would happen is it would almost, whenever it would click, but it was almost like the starter just wasn't getting enough power, or it wasn't grounding. So like that. Exactly like this. It's even worse now. Well, there. And then, yeah, this is exactly what it was doing. I'll tell you what. Let's just change out the starter and eliminate that. When you're messing with a starter, I'm going to tell you the first thing you need to do is disconnect this dang battery, because you're going to take the power wire off of that starter and you're going to touch something, and it ain't going to be good. So tuck your thing back down in there, tuck your thing in, and then I'm going to go ahead and take the, I just plugged all that stuff back in. Unplug all that, take that ground off, because that alleviates that harness and lets it pull out. Get the top bolts out, and then from underneath I can get, well, it's over here. The other bolt for the starter is back here. So I don't know if it's just held in with 2 bolts. Let's look at the new one. Yes, I know. It's not factory. I'm sorry. That's just the way it happened. Oh, it's a report of the starter. That looks like that was just photocopied. That doesn't look like something that they freshly printed out. It looks like they've made multiple copies of that. 2000. Okay, wasn't that bad. It wasn't that long ago. December. Okay, so there is only 2 bolts that hold that in. Now it looks pretty much identical. All right, let's slap this sucker in.
This is the essential food.
I don't want you coming out of here and giving me pills anymore. Every fucking time we drop the pills, get dirt on them, and then we feed them to me.
I blew it off! It's good now! 5-second roll! Boop.
There's dirt in this rod. The 5-second roll. Chemicals.
That's why I feed you the toxic pills that you just took to help get out of your system.
So you feed me dirt to see if it works.
Yep.
Now we can bench test this starter with a jumper pack. and a test lead. There's going to be two operations of this. This is going to spin the starter. This is going to kick the solenoid to kick it out. Need to ground the body. I should be able to turn the power on my test lead here. And this should kick out. So now this should kick it out and spin it every time. Oh! Our starter is bad. How about that? It was our starter. So that was the issue. That makes me feel a whole lot better that this is the issue. It's got a tight spot in it. Right there. You see it every time it kicks it out. It moves it a little bit. So that's why it eventually starts. Because it's moving it enough to get to that loose spot. So let's test a new one. See? Now, I suck when it comes to electronics, but I'm not a complete dum-dum. I can test things. So, alright, let's throw this thing in. That's exciting. Now I know I won't get stranded somewhere. Alright guys, I had to throw you guys on the charge for a little bit, the camera, but look at that, we're back together. So, oh, I have to connect the battery. I hope everything's connected okay. If you're questioning these other grounds, that's to my fog lights and my daytime running lights. Okay, now let's test the starter. We don't have no problems now. Actually even starts faster, it spins faster. Alright, well, we fixed that issue. Oh yeah, we're gonna have the tire pressure light forever. And another thing I fixed off camera. I love it when I fix stuff, okay? I just, first thing I was like, I started with a fix. I had a slow leak on my driver's side front tire. Now, I mounted the tire, I put the valves in it and everything. So I was like, let me spray some, how does Chris Fix say it? Worder? There's R's in it. Anyways, sprayed some soapy Worder on the valve, and the valve inside, the straighter valve, was leaking very slowly, but it was leaking. So I tightened that up, went away, pumped the tire back up, we're good. So yeah, now I gotta redo my clock and everything in here, but let's bring the Murano in. Yeah, let's get started on that. Get started and finish it. That'd be great. So if you've closely been following along, then you would know that I've been acquiring parts for this Murano, and I have a lot of stuff here. So that means next episode, we're going full bore on this thing. Next episode, I want to do the plugs and coils. Also want to check the cylinders. It has some smell coming out the exhaust. Now that could be from the accident. There could have been oil that got into the intake track from stuff that happened, or because of the valve cover being busted, that vacuum, it's just sucking it straight through now because there's nothing holding it back, you know what I mean? So it's taking the oil vapors straight through since it's ventilated to atmosphere. There's a lot of things that could be going on there, and there's no coolant in the thing. So I want to try to get this mechanically sound next episode. Definitely valve cover, that'll be the first thing. Then plugs, coils. Probably keep these coils because the thing runs good. I'm just gonna keep hold of them in case we do have an issue. Then I can throw one in there and check it. Intake gaskets, radiator, condenser, core support, new fans, new headlights. What else? We did not get the bumper yet. It's coming. Oh, I got that little metal piece right there, and then I also got, there's another metal piece I ordered that late, but it's coming. It's where the actual hood latch goes on. The hood latch is two pieces. There's the actual latch that latches the hood, then the release is a separate, it has a cable that runs out to the release, and I didn't order that. I think we can bend that back straight, so we're going to try to use that release, but we are going to replace the hood latch. And I already got my electronic power steering cap that was missing this cap. I got that cap and put it on there. Used engine cover. That's actually off of a Pathfinder. Pathfinder with the 3.5 has the same engine cover. I don't know what years, I forget, but I looked it up. It had the same part number, so I ordered it from Pathfinder because I couldn't find the Murano one. The right prices was maybe $15 cheaper than the Murano one. So, and it will bolt up. I looked, it's direct bolt up. This is an aftermarket grill. It was a little, it's an aftermarket badge too. The badge wouldn't go in. There's supposed to be a hole up top for this one tab to go in for the badge, and there was no hole there, and it was real thick. It was like filled in real thick. So I took a screwdriver, heated it up, punched it out until I had that hole in there. Then I put it in, and the clips weren't holding the Nissan emblem. So then I had to take the Nissan emblem off, heat it up, bend the tangs in that hold it. Now it's on there. So yeah, these aftermarket grill, there was one tab busted on the front. Not worried about that. A lot of this stuff was not cheap. I probably have $3,000 in parts right here. Okay, probably even more than that now. Probably maybe like $3,500. So it's by no means a cheap rebuild. It sucks. Wanted to keep it cheap, but you know, you got to do what you got to do. So some stuff you can't get around. Tires, these are dry rotted, bald. Had to put some new tires on. I'm sick. I'm going in for the day. Okay, so if you guys like this episode, smash that like button. Consider subscribing. Hit that dislike button if your mom thinks I'm sick. I will see you on the next episode.
Alright.
It's rare that you come see me when I come in. Did you want to see me or not? You smell them dirty hands. I think he smells your mom. Oh. Oh. Big kitty. There he is. What are you doing in the window? Huh? You get that freshly mulched bank. Yeah. Yeah.
Not sure that's possible. It's only 3 years.
Although it was
Miss
premium,
Ella.
it didn't speak English. You hear that?
Let me say bye.
See?
Bye bye.